You wake up, but you're not alive. You exist, breathing, blinking, scrolling, but your soul, it's rotting in silence. You don't even see the chains anymore, chains of comfort, chains of distraction, chains you forged with your own hands. You stare into your phone like it's oxygen. You drown in dopamine. You run from pain like a coward, when pain was always your forge. You used to have fire. Now you have excuses. Every day you let this go on, another piece of the man you were meant to be dies. This isn't a video. This is a fucking mirror. A war cry. A final warning. We're going to expose 6 dark habits that destroy weak men. Slowly, silently, fatally. If you're not ready to face them, click away. Run back to your comfort. But if something inside you still wants war, if something inside you refuses to die quietly, stay, because you're about to confront your demons and rise from the ashes. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius. If you've ever looked in the mirror and hated the man staring back, then don't scroll. Stand, declare, burn. Comment this right now. I burn the weakness. I rebuild in silence, not for likes, not for the algorithm, but for you. Because the moment you write that, you're no longer a passive watcher. You're a man at war. And if you're done living soft, if you're done escaping pain, then subscribe. Not for entertainment, but for execution. Every video is a weapon, designed to break your chains, ignite your mind, and harden your will. No fluff, no comfort, just truth, raw and ruthless. Join the brotherhood of silence, where men don't explain, they rebuild, and they don't beg for strength. They become it. You are not born weak, you are tamed. From the moment you could walk, the world wrapped you in comfort, fed you lies about happiness, success, love, taught you to chase ease, not effort, to fear pain, to avoid silence, to numb instead of build. You weren't raised for war, you were raised for compliance. Sit still, be quiet, follow the rules, stay soft. And now, you're suffering. You don't even know why. You feel lost, hollow, numb. You drown in distraction. You collapse at the first sign of resistance. But it's not just depression. It's not just heartbreak. It's not just being burnt out. It's weakness. And it's been growing inside you for years. Not from one moment, but from small, daily choices. From habits so subtle they look harmless, until they've gutted your will from the inside out. No, this isn't a motivational video. Motivation is for tourists. This is war. We're going to tear the mask off 6 dark habits that destroy men every single day, not with fire and noise, but with silence, with comfort, with pleasure. They kill your clarity, kill your masculinity, kill your edge. And you don't even see them coming. You scroll, you sleep in, you ghost your goals, you run from hard truths, and every time you do, your inner fire dims. Not because you're evil, but because you were never taught how to fight. You were never taught how to stand alone, how to suffer with discipline, how to walk through pain without begging for rescue. But that ends here. Because a man can't escape pain, he can only choose what it forges. Scars or steel, decay or discipline. As a man's inner world is, so becomes his fate. Marcus Aurelius, paraphrased. If your inner world is built on distraction, weakness, emotion, and comfort, don't be shocked when your life reflects it. You become what you tolerate, and you've tolerated too much. That's why you're here. Not because you're broken, but because something inside you refuses to stay this way. A whisper, a fire, a warning bell in the distance. You're not like other men. Because you didn't run, you're watching this. And that means you still have time. Time to burn what's soft. Time to silence what's chaotic. Time to become something unrecognizable to the man you are today. This isn't for your friends. This isn't for your ex. This isn't for applause. This is for the man buried beneath years of softness. The man who knows there's more. The man who's ready to suffer, bleed, and rebuild in silence. Let's begin. You think you're safe. You think because there's no blood, no betrayal, no crisis, that you're okay. But you're not. You're being devoured, not by chaos, but by comfort. You worship it, you chase it, you live your life avoiding anything that feels like resistance. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you woke up before sunrise with a clear mission? When was the last time you felt real hunger, not for food, but for greatness? When was the last time you bled for something real? Most men haven't. Most men never will. Because comfort is the new religion, and you're one of its quiet, loyal followers. Comfort is the new cage. You don't even notice the bars anymore. They look like a soft mattress. They sound like Netflix. They smell like fast food. They feel like another hour of sleep you didn't earn. They whisper things like, "You've worked hard. Rest. One day off won't kill you. Be kind to yourself." But comfort doesn't speak like a killer. It speaks like a mother. It nurtures you into weakness, wraps you in softness until your fire dies, not with a scream, but with a sigh. Comfort doesn't care if you become great. Comfort doesn't care if you conquer yourself. Comfort only cares that you stay still. And you've let it win. You've let it win. You don't need chains when a man fears discomfort. Ancient men faced lions. You faced notifications. They bled for survival. You whine for convenience. You're not weak because you were born weak. You're weak because you've been trained to run from every kind of discomfort. Your mind is soft because you haven't trained it with silence, pain, and solitude. Your body is soft because you haven't earned your exhaustion. Your soul is soft because you've replaced the battlefield with a screen. This modern world doesn't need to enslave you. It just keeps you comfortable. And that's enough to keep you from becoming anything dangerous, powerful, or focused. Discipline dies in the arms of comfort. You say you want discipline. You watch these videos, you read the books, you swear you're ready. But your actions betray you. You don't need more motivation. You need friction. You need resistance. You need the forge. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Seneca. You want to be a man of steel, then why do you keep running from the fire? Discipline doesn't come from reading quotes. It comes from waking up at 5 a.m. when you don't want to. It comes from pushing 10 more reps when your arms beg to stop. It comes from facing your ex, your grief, your failures, without running into distraction. But you don't want that. You want to be disciplined as long as it's easy. You want to be strong without the struggle, and that's why you're stuck. Because you're still secretly hoping for transformation without pain. Comfort makes you blind to your own decay. Look at your days. Wake up late. Check your phone. Dopamine. Skip the workout. Excuses. Eat whatever's easy. Scroll some more. Zero purpose. Zero structure. Just existence. You repeat it day after day, and then wonder why you feel empty, why your confidence is dead, why you hate what stares back at you in the mirror. It's because comfort has made you passive, and passivity is the slowest, quietest death of masculinity. You stopped acting like a warrior. Now you float through life like a ghost. Comfort has robbed you of your edge. The tension in your jaw, the fight in your eyes, the fire in your chest. The fire of great men wasn't lit in comfort. Think of Marcus Aurelius, Stoic emperor, disciplined beyond belief. He didn't lead from a golden bed. He led in freezing tents during plague, during war. He wrote his meditations not on vacation, but while the empire was collapsing around him. And still, he sharpened his mind. He ruled himself. He endured, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. Do you want to be like him? Then get out of the fucking blanket. Stand in the storm. Go without. You don't build your character watching podcasts on your couch. You build it in the arena, covered in sweat, failure, doubt, and still pushing forward. Comfort numbs the call of purpose. There's something inside you, a whisper, a pull, a fire that says, there's more. You're not meant to live like this. This isn't who you really are. But you can't hear it, because you're drowning in noise, in scrolling, in sugar, in pornography, in just 10 more minutes. Comfort silences your calling. It doesn't kill your purpose. It buries it. Under softness, under laziness, under distraction. And now you walk around wondering why you feel disconnected from life, why nothing excites you, why you feel dead even when you're breathing, because you traded fire for fluff. Purpose for pleasure, discipline for dopamine. How to kill comfort and rebuild your mind. If you're ready to burn the worship of comfort. Then it begins with war, not external war, internal. You must go into yourself and declare rebellion against softness, against passivity, against the lies that made you small. Here's where you begin. 1. Do the hard thing first. Wake up and attack the thing you least want to do. Not later, not after coffee. First, train your brain to move toward discomfort, not around it. Second, daily cold exposure, cold showers, cold plunges, not for trend, for discipline, to remind yourself that you can choose suffering, that you're in control of your response. Third, scheduled silence. Sit with no phone, no music, no stimulation, daily. Let your mind burn, let the discomfort scream, and sit through it. This is where clarity is reborn. 4. Train until you break. Don't stop at 3 sets. Train until your body says no. Then give it 1 more. That's where strength is built, in defiance of comfort. 5. Earn your rest. Don't sleep in. Don't treat yourself after doing the bare minimum. Earn everything, or it means nothing. Replace comfort with a higher purpose. You don't need to suffer for no reason. You need to suffer with intention. Don't just remove comfort. Replace it with purpose, with structure, with the hunt for mastery. Every time you destroy a comfort habit, you create space for a new identity. Kill the softness. Rebuild the savage. Burn the excuses. Forge the executor. And understand this: the man you were meant to be. He lives on the other side of everything you're avoiding. That cold morning, that difficult workout, that boring silence, that deep shadow work, that confrontation, that heartbreak. He's waiting, and you're late. Final words. If you keep chasing comfort, you'll keep living like a coward. Comfort kills more men than war ever could. It strips away your hunger. It dulls your edge. It convinces you that being okay is enough. But it's not. And deep down, you know it. There's a voice inside you that still remembers who you were supposed to become, what you were meant to fight for, what you were born to endure. This chapter is your first test. You can watch it and feel inspired, or you can stand up right now and change something. Small, brutal, uncomfortable. Do it, then do it again tomorrow, and again the day after that, until the comfort dies, until the warrior rises, until the weak man inside you is nothing but ash. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Seneca. You want to be a man of steel, then burn. You feel everything, every heartbreak, every insult, every silence, every delay, and it wrecks you. You overthink the text she didn't send. You replay every word from that one argument. You spiral in your mind. And you call it being sensitive, emotional, deep. Number, you are not deep. You are undisciplined. You are ruled by every flicker of emotion, like a leaf thrown around by the wind. That's not depth. That's chaos. And chaos destroys men from the inside out. You think you're feeling. You're actually drowning. You think emotions make you alive, but they've made you a slave. Look at how quickly your mood changes. One word from her, and you're euphoric. One cold reply, and you crash. One missed opportunity, and you're spiraling. You let feelings decide your worth. You let moods direct your day. You let memories of the past bleed into every moment of the present. That's not strength, that's submission. You're letting your emotions hold the sword, and they're cutting you to pieces. Stoicism knew this trap centuries ago. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Marcus Aurelius. You're not broken because she left. You're broken because you keep replaying it. You're not lost because the job said no. You're lost because you made rejection your identity. The Stoics didn't say, don't feel. They said, don't obey. Don't let your emotions drive the chariot. The emotions, they scream, they twist, they whisper lies. But you're supposed to be the one holding the reins. Right now, you're not. You're sitting in the back seat, crying because the road is bumpy, instead of grabbing the wheel and owning the storm. The war inside you is not emotional, it's philosophical. Emotions will always come. That's not weakness, but being ruled by them. That's the death of masculinity. You weren't meant to live by impulse. You were meant to act from principle. A Stoic man sees a storm and stays still. He feels pain and tightens his jaw. He feels loss and keeps walking, not because he doesn't bleed, but because he knows bleeding is part of the path. And crying about it won't stitch the wound. You cry, then what? You panic. Then what? You rage. Then what? Do you move forward, or do you collapse into the same cycle of overthinking, venting, blaming, quitting? Most men collapse. You will not. Not if you want to live differently. Heartbreak doesn't kill you. Your attachment to it does. She left, and you shattered. But it wasn't the woman that broke you. It was your dependency. You tied your identity to her. You gave her your center of gravity. And when she walked away, you lost yourself. This is not about her. This is about you. How much power do you keep giving away? To a woman, to a stranger online, to your past, to your mistakes, to feelings that come and go like weather. You don't need therapy. You need self-mastery. You need to rip back the reins and stop outsourcing your peace to people who don't care if you drown. Feel everything. Respond to nothing. The Stoics never told you to become a robot. They told you to become a fortress, one that gets hit and stays standing. So feel the sadness, but don't post about it. Feel the rage, but don't punch walls. Feel the loneliness, but don't go crawling back to her. Hold the emotion, study it, then make a decision based on logic, not chaos. The weak man thinks reaction is strength. The strong man knows stillness is power. Training your emotions. The Stoic way. You're not going to wake up tomorrow emotionally bulletproof. This takes war, daily, internal, silent. But here's where you start. 1. Name the feeling, then dissect it. I'm anxious. Why? Is it real or imagined? Is it in your control or out of it? Don't let emotion exist without question. Interrogate it like a guard at the gate of your mind. 2. Use the 3-second rule before reacting. Pause. 3 full seconds. That's enough time to let logic take the wheel. Enough time to choose silence over self-destruction. 3. Journal like a warrior. Not a victim, don't vent. Dissect, break the emotion down on paper. What triggered it? What thought fed it? What action will replace it? Fourth, discipline. Over mood train when you don't feel like it. Read when your brain is foggy. Fast when your cravings scream. This is how you kill the pattern of mood-based living. 5. Detachment is not coldness, it's command. You don't stop caring, you stop depending. You stop tying your peace to people, outcomes, or validation. You choose internal stability over external comfort. How to win back emotional control. Start by understanding this truth. Your emotions are not facts, they're just signals, not commands. You're allowed to feel like quitting, but you're not allowed to obey that feeling. You're allowed to feel sadness, but you're not allowed to let it make your decisions. You're allowed to feel anger, but you're not allowed to become a slave to it. This is the line between weak and strong, between boy and man, between slave and sovereign. A boy reacts, a man responds. A slave feels something and moves with it. A Stoic feels everything and still moves by logic. The lies you've been sold about emotions. Real men cry. Sure, but real men don't collapse. Talk about your feelings. Sure, but only after you've understood them, not when you're drowning in them and infecting everyone around you. The world has confused emotional expression with emotional slavery. The first is strength. The second is self-destruction. You can feel everything, but you better be able to hold your line through the storm. If you fall apart every time life gets loud, you will never lead. You will never build. You will never become anything unshakable. When emotions attack, the Stoic counter-strike. Imagine you're on the battlefield. Chaos around you, screams, fire, noise. Your feelings are yelling, retreat, cry, rage, break down. But there's a voice underneath, a stillness. That's Stoicism. That's you, the real you, the commander, the one who doesn't move just because his heart is beating fast, the one who sees the chaos and walks straight into it. Because that's what men are supposed to do. Not react, but respond. With power, with clarity, with fire that doesn't flicker every time the wind blows. Reprogramming your emotional world. You've spent years reacting. Now it's time to rebuild. Start treating emotions like weather. They come, they go. Some stay longer than others, but they always pass. You don't scream at the rain. You put on a coat. You endure. Do the same with your heartbreak. Do the same with your fear. Do the same with your shame. Don't drown. Don't run. Don't explode. Endure and rebuild in silence. That's what Stoics do. Final words. You've been lied to. You were told that reacting to emotions was healthy. That feeling deeply meant feeling truthfully. That being ruled by your heart was noble. It's not. A man ruled by emotions is a candle in the wind. Beautiful for a second, gone the next. You are not made to flicker. You are made to burn. Steady, silent, unshakable. From this day forward, feel it all, but let none of it control you. Not her, not fear, not the voice in your head telling you you're not enough. Feel it and keep walking, because emotional chaos isn't strength, it's slavery, and you're not a slave anymore. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Marcus Aurelius. Estimate it differently. See the storm. Feel it. And walk through it with your spine straight, your heart still, and your mind untouched. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not cursed, you're overstimulated, your brain is drowning in dopamine, your willpower is starved, and every time you chase that little hit of pleasure, you hand your power over to nothingness. It doesn't feel like pain, but that's why it's deadly. Because pleasure has become the most effective prison ever built. No bars, no guards, just pixels, sugar, noise, and your decaying potential. The war isn't outside, it's in your brain. Every scroll, every like, every porn video, every quick dopamine hit. It chips away at your masculinity. You think it's harmless. You think it's normal. You think, I'll stop later. But your brain isn't built for this. You were designed to hunt, build, protect, endure. Now, you sit, you tap, you consume, you numb. And while you're relaxing, your discipline is dying. Pleasure is the most silent form of self-destruction. No man wakes up saying, I want to waste my life. But look at your habits. You binge, then hate yourself. You scroll, then feel empty. You chase sex, then feel hollow. You avoid boredom like it's pain. But boredom is where your mind breathes. You're overdosing on comfort. You're a junkie. But your drug is socially accepted, even encouraged. Porn, TikTok, fast food, endless options. Zero focus. Your brain's dopamine system has been hijacked, and you're the one who handed over the keys. I can't focus is a symptom, so the cause. Overstimulation. You can't read a page without checking your phone. You can't sit still without craving noise. You can't enjoy a moment without documenting it. Your mind isn't weak. It's fried. Every second you spend overstimulated, you lower your tolerance for silence, stillness, and discipline. The real war is in the quiet, but you can't even enter it because your nervous system is stuck in a loop. A loop of need, of escape, of indulgence. Dopamine loops aren't just bad habits. They're identity killers. They steal your fire, not in one day, but drip by drip. They blur your purpose. They erase your ambition. They sabotage your focus. They rob you of presence. You're a ghost, living in the shell of a man, smiling while decaying, wired but empty, stimulated but soulless. And the worst part? You know it. The most powerful men in history were masters of restraint. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. The Stoics didn't preach abstinence for purity. They practiced it for power. They knew something modern men forgot, that every time you give in to impulse, you train your soul to obey weakness. Every just one more video, every I deserve this treat, every it's not that bad. It's erosion. You're wearing away your will. You're burning your potential for cheap hits of nothing. What exactly is a dopamine loop? It's a cycle. Trigger, habit, reward, guilt, repeat. You feel bored or anxious. You scroll or binge. You get a quick hit. You crash. You repeat it again. It's not about what you like. It's about what you need. Because your brain is being programmed for stimulation instead of discipline. That's why life feels dull now. Because the highs come cheap and the lows last longer. The real cost of easy pleasure. You're not just wasting time. You're rewiring your nervous system. Every time you pick the phone over the book, you make patience weaker. Every time you choose porn over presence, you make intimacy colder. Every time you chase sugar instead of hunger, you make the body softer. And the more you repeat it, the more you need more to feel less. That's addiction, and it's happening in your back pocket. The Stoic response, restraint is power. The Stoics didn't seek pain for its own sake. They sought freedom, and they knew the truth. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever you want. It comes from doing what is hard, consistently, without excuse. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? Ask that about your scroll time, your snacks, your tabs, your binges. What are you building? What are you feeding? Pleasure isn't evil, but when it rules you, you rot. How to escape dopamine slavery. Step 1. Kill passive consumption. No more mindless scrolling. Every time you reach for the phone, ask why. Is it boredom? Escape. Prove to yourself you can sit with nothing. Step 2. Fast from stimulation. Take 1 day a week with no social media, no porn, no junk food, no background noise. Your mind will panic. Let it. That's the detox. That's the withdrawal. That's where power starts. Step 3. Embrace boredom. Boredom is a training ground. If you can't sit in stillness, you'll never sit with greatness. Use that boredom. Create, think, building right, lift, plan. Anything but escape. Step 4. Practice voluntary hardship. Take cold showers. Walk without headphones. Do the hard set. Skip the comfort meal. Not because it makes you special, but because it makes you solid. Each time you deny an impulse, you build a brick of inner command. Stack them daily, and you become unbreakable. The modern world profits from your weakness. Let that sink in. Every application, every platform, every advertisement, every shortcut, they are designed to break your will. They want you clicking, numbing, feeding the beast, because a man lost in dopamine will never rise in discipline. You want to lead? Then stop letting corporations control your cravings. You want to build? Then stop feeding your brain cheap noise every 5 minutes. You want clarity? Then suffer through the silence long enough for it to arrive. You are not addicted to the phone. You are addicted to escape. That's what this is. It's not about TikTok. It's not about sugar. It's not about porn. It's about your inability to face yourself. In the silence, in the boredom, in the discomfort, that's where your real work begins. You've been running from that, and it's time to stop, because every second you spend in false pleasure, you're drifting further from the man you were built to become. Who do you want to be in 3 years? Be honest. Do you want to be sharper, stronger, wiser, more disciplined, more respected, more capable? Then you can't keep living like this. That man you dream of, he doesn't binge dopamine. He doesn't scroll into oblivion. He doesn't numb every spark of discomfort. He walks into pain with clarity. He controls what he consumes. He chooses suffering when others choose escape. He is a fortress, not a follower. Final words. You think dopamine loops are just bad habits? They are the rot in the foundation of modern men. Every hit of fake pleasure delays real transformation. Every time you obey an impulse, you surrender leadership over your mind. Every second you choose ease, you kill the part of you that was made for greatness. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. So master yourself. Start small. Cut one source of addiction today. Sit through the craving. Endure the silence. Reclaim command. You are not a machine. You are not a slave. You are not your desires. You are the voice that says, no, not today, not anymore. This is the start of your freedom, not in pleasure, but in power. You blame your parents. You blame your ex. You blame the system, the economy, your past, your genetics, your childhood. You blame everything except the man in the mirror. That's not awareness. That's not healing. That's weakness. And worst of all, you've made it your identity. Victimhood is comfort in disguise. You think you're being honest. You think you're being vulnerable. You think you're processing pain. But what you're really doing is refusing responsibility, because victimhood is the easiest way to live. No expectations, no pressure, no change. Just a never-ending loop of why it's not your fault. It's soft, it's sweet, and it will kill everything strong inside of you. Blame is a drug for the weak. Every time something goes wrong, you reach for it, not to fix the problem, but to make yourself feel better. He hurt me. They never taught me. She cheated. They lied. He had more support. They had it easier. You build an entire mental story where you are the helpless, misunderstood underdog. It feels good, it feels safe, but it's not strength. It's decay. It convinces you that the world owes you something. And when you believe that, you stop fighting for anything. Masculinity dies when you make excuses your identity. You weren't made to whine. You weren't built to beg. You weren't born to live in the shadows of what happened to you. You were made to carry weight, to suffer, to adapt, to rise. But none of that is possible if you hold on to the identity of a victim, because the victim never heals. He clings, he broadcasts pain, he decorates it, he makes it his flag. So ask yourself, have you been healing, or have you just been hiding behind your story? The Stoic truth: everything is your responsibility. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. It doesn't matter what they did. It matters what you do now. This is Stoic law. You don't control what happens. You only control how you respond. And how you respond determines who you become. If you choose to stay in the cycle of pain, blame, and pity, you stay small. Software forgettable. If you choose to take total ownership, even for things you didn't cause, you become unbreakable. Responsibility doesn't mean guilt. It means responsibility, the ability to respond with strength, no matter what broke you. Men who thrive. Take ownership of everything you didn't get the job. Own your preparation. She ghosted you. Own the dynamic. You feel stuck. Own your habits. You're addicted. Own the decision to change. You feel weak. Own the process of becoming strong. Victimhood looks at the world and says, "Why me?" Responsibility looks at the world and says, "Try me." One of them leads to growth. The other leads to a life you'll regret forever. The lie of "I'm doing my best." No, you're not. You're doing what's comfortable. "I'm doing my best" is the soft man's shield. It sounds noble, but most of the time it's just a way to avoid leveling up. Because if you're really doing your best, your life doesn't stay the same year after year. Real effort produces change, not comfort, not safety, not applause. So stop hiding behind watered-down language. Be honest. You're capable of more. You're just afraid of what it would cost to become that man. Trauma is real. So is responsibility. What happened to you might not be your fault, but what you do next, that's your burden. That's your choice. That's your test. You don't heal by venting forever. You don't grow by waiting for an apology. You don't rise by blaming the past. You grow when you say, "This scar is mine, and I will build from it." You don't need revenge. You need rebirth. You don't need understanding. You need action. You don't need closure. You need clarity. The pain doesn't leave. But neither do you. That's what makes you a man. What does taking full ownership actually look like? First, stop telling your story like a victim. Talk about your past like a warrior, not like someone who's still bleeding. Yes, it happened, and I'm still here, and I'm building anyway. 2. Replace "why me" with "what now?" You got hit. Now what? What's the mission? What's the move? Don't freeze. Execute. 3. Build rituals of power. Every day, do something that reminds you you're in command. Work out, fast, train, write, lead, decide. Create rhythm, create order, create direction. 4. Speak less, do more. Explaining your pain doesn't erase it. Action does. So shut your mouth and sharpen your habits. The modern world glorifies victimhood, and you know it. Men cry on camera for likes, blame their exes in TikToks, post about mental health without doing the work, complain about women instead of becoming men who don't get disrespected. Pain isn't weakness, but using it to gain sympathy is. You weren't built for applause. You were built for pressure. The moment you stop looking for validation and start building your own self-respect, everything changes. Radical responsibility equals indestructible identity. A man who owns everything becomes untouchable, because you can't take anything from a man who has already accepted the worst and used it as fuel. No breakup can break him. No loss can paralyze him. No betrayal can define him. He's not immune to pain, but he's unshaken by it, because he's not looking to blame. he's looking to build. That's what Stoicism breeds. Men who walk through hell and come back with fire in their eyes. Excuses are a language of the dead. Stop saying, "I can't." "I'm trying. It's hard. I don't know how." Start saying, "I will. I must. I'll figure it out. I'll suffer for this." Excuses are graves you dig for your future self. Every time you speak one, you bury a version of you that could have existed. Don't kill him. Resurrect him. Final words. You're not your past. You're not your trauma. You're not your mistake. You're not what they did to you. You are what you do next. Victimhood is seductive. It feels safe. It feels warm. But it erases your masculinity one breath at a time. You are not born to stay soft. You are not built to stay wounded. You were made to carry pain and still move forward. Own the pain. Own the weakness. Own the mistake. Own the day. Own the mission. Own the identity of a man who refuses to explain himself because he embodies everything he claims. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. So shut your mouth. Stand tall and walk like the storm never touched you. Because the victim will always ask, "Who will save me?" The Stoic answers, "No one." That's why I save myself. You say you're just focusing on yourself. You say you're cutting people off to heal. You say you're building in silence, but you're not building. You're hiding. You're not becoming disciplined. You're becoming numb. You're not in solitude. You're in isolation. And it's not making you stronger. It's killing you slowly, quietly, while convincing you that you're healing. Alone doesn't always mean ascending. Not every man who walks alone is a wolf. Some are just lost. Alone with your thoughts. Alone with your phone. Alone with porn. Alone with junk food. Alone with distractions. That's not solitude. That's spiritual rot. You scroll all day, sleep too much, overthink, avoid. Convince yourself you're working on yourself, but you haven't done a single hard thing all week. That's not self-love. That's slow decay. Isolation without purpose is where masculinity dies. Masculinity doesn't thrive in silence. It thrives in challenge, in pressure, in purpose. You think avoiding people, avoiding responsibility, avoiding pain is strength. You've been sold a lie. A man alone without a mission becomes his own worst enemy. His thoughts turn against him. His habits rot in the dark. His discipline softens into excuses, because when no one's watching, that's when the real war begins. And if you're not built for it, you lose without ever knowing you're in a fight. Solitude is a tool. Isolation is a trap. Solitude is sacred. It's the forge. It's the mental monastery where real men sharpen themselves, but only if you use it with intention. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius wrote their deepest thoughts in solitude, but they didn't disappear from life. They went to war, they led, they suffered, they wrote in the silence, then they returned to the battlefield. Solitude is for sharpening, not for hiding. But you're not sharpening. You're sleeping in, you're scrolling, you're lost in your own mind, and calling it growth. The loneliness that destroys you doesn't come from lack of people. It comes from lack of purpose. You can be in a crowd and still be empty. You can be in your room and still feel connected. The key isn't people, it's mission, it's intention. Right now, you're disconnected because you're floating, waking up with no target, killing time, burning dopamine, just existing. And every day you do that, another piece of your masculine fire goes dark, because men weren't built to float. They were built to hunt. The false power of "I don't need anyone." You say it with pride. You wear it like armor. I don't need anyone. I'm better off alone. I trust no one. But what you're really saying is, I'm afraid. I've been hurt. I don't know how to connect without being destroyed. You've mistaken emotional self-preservation for strength. But Stoicism isn't about cutting off the world. It's about commanding yourself within it. The man who hides from connection isn't strong. He's wounded and too scared to admit it. You think avoiding people makes you dangerous, but real danger isn't in running from the world. It's in becoming unshakable within it. Silence is not enough. Action makes it powerful. You're not rebuilding in silence. You're delaying your life in silence. You say you're off the grid, but you're off track. You say you're working on your mind, but you haven't meditated once. You say you're building in the dark, but you're not lifting, not learning, not doing. You've confused being unreachable with being untouchable. And they are not the same. The Stoics weren't unreachable. They were present, in the fight, in the world, but untouched by it, because they trained their inner citadel, not their outer distance. How to turn isolation into Stoic solitude? There's a way to be alone, without becoming hollow. Here's how. 1. Create a code for yourself. Write down your daily non-negotiables. Wake time, workout, reading, writing, no escape routes. Solitude without a code equals chaos. 2nd practice. Deep work. Use your time alone for building. Don't just consume, create. Build something that strengthens your identity. A business, a body, a mind, a philosophy. 3rd, train like you're going to war. Because you are. Train like you're preparing for a world that will test you. Because it will. No audience, no praise. Just reps, just iron, just discipline. That's where real men are built. 4, enter the world with strength, not need. When you do return, when you speak, connect, lead, or love. Don't do it from need. Do it from fullness. You sharpen in solitude, but you lead in the world. That's the balance. Stoicism isn't escapism, it's mastery. You are not meant to retreat forever. You are meant to return stronger. Isolation is not the goal. Independence is. And independence isn't, I don't need anyone. It's, I am whole, with or without. I can stand alone and still choose to lead. I control my emotions and still feel everything. That's Stoicism. That's strength. That's solitude with purpose. What are you actually building alone? Ask yourself that. What's changing? What's evolving? What habits are being reforged in this silence? If you're not coming out sharper, you're just rusting. Silence doesn't shape you. What you do inside it does. Don't hide and call it healing. Don't escape and call it elevation. Don't run from people and call it peace. Call it what it is. Fear, stagnation, avoidance, decay. Until you stop lying to yourself, you'll never build yourself. Final words. Being alone isn't power. Building alone is. There's a difference. Right now, most men are decaying in silence, not rising in it. They confuse avoidance for wisdom. They confuse detachment for strength. They confuse distance for discipline. And every day they spend in that false solitude. They slip further into nothingness. You don't have to be one of them. Turn your silence into structure. Turn your alone time into a weapon. Turn your solitude into a sacred forge where fire meets focus and isolation becomes identity. Use it. Sharpen yourself. Then return to the world, not seeking to belong, but ready to lead. Because in a world full of lost men hiding in the shadows, you will be the one who walked through the silence and came out steel. You can't think, you can't focus, you can't sit still. You're not stupid, you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're distracted. And it's not just hurting you, it's killing you. Distraction is not harmless. It's a war on your mind. You check your phone 100 times a day. You scroll while you eat. You skip songs before the chorus even hits. You panic in silence. You can't even walk without your headphones in. This isn't normal. It's not just the times we live in. It's addiction. And it's the most socially accepted, least talked about mental cancer of our generation. Your brain has been trained not to think, but to escape. And if you don't kill distraction, it will bury your potential alive. Every scroll, every notification is a knife against your focus. You want to be great. You want discipline. You want presence. But your habits prove otherwise. You've become a servant to dopamine-driven interruption. Every time your phone buzzes, you break your attention, and you think it's nothing. But those tiny breaks, they're death by 1,000 cuts. Focus isn't destroyed all at once. It's bled out slowly by every quick check that trains your brain to run from depth. The Stoic mind is unbreakable. Yours is barely awake. The Stoics trained stillness like a weapon. They wrote, they reflected, they sat in silence with their pain and forged clarity through it. You flinch the second silence shows up. You reach for noise, any noise, just so you don't have to hear your own thoughts. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca. You don't know your port. You don't know your purpose. Because your mind is a hurricane, and you refuse to sit in the eye of the storm. Distraction is a coward's comfort. Don't pretend. You're not busy. You're not multitasking. You're running from boredom, from responsibility, from pain, from the truth. Distraction is easier than discipline. Noise is safer than silence. Scrolling is softer than sitting in the rawness of your reality. You'd rather react to 100 random posts than sit with one real thought that might change your life. Why? Because facing your truth requires strength, and distraction has made you weak. You can't build while you're distracted. No great man was ever built in noise. Focus is the birthplace of all greatness, and you've let yours be sold to algorithms. Let's be real. You start reading a book. 3 pages in, you check your phone. You start a workout. Halfway through, you're texting. You sit to write, and you've got 5 tabs open. You start a task, but you quickly check social media. And then you wonder why you feel empty. Why nothing gets finished. Why your goals drift further away, no matter how much you want them. It's not lack of desire. It's a lack of presence. The modern world wants you distracted because a distracted man is easy to control. Think about it. If you can't focus, you can't think for yourself. If you can't think, you can't act with clarity. If you can't act, you can't build. And if you can't build, you're just another consumer. Distraction is profitable. Your broken attention span is making someone rich. Every second you scroll instead of build, you're lining someone else's pocket while your soul collects dust. You're not free if your attention is owned. The cost of distraction is your life. Let that sink in. It's not just 10 minutes. It's not just one more video. It's your time, your energy, your future, your edge. Every minute you spend in noise is a minute lost in becoming who you were meant to be. You think you're relaxing. You think you're decompressing. But what you're really doing is avoiding your potential. The Stoic response: fight for your attention like a warrior. If you truly want to live like a Stoic, start with discipline of focus. Here's how. 1. Silence is sacred. Create at least 1 hour a day with no noise, no music, no social, no talking. Just you, your thoughts, and your work. This is where clarity is born. 2. Control the first hour of your day. Don't touch your phone. Don't check messages. Don't invite chaos. Start with breath. Start with stillness. Start with stillness. Start with intention. Own the morning, or it will own you. 3. Single task, like a warrior. 1 task. No distractions, No tabs, no pings. Set a timer. Go to war with the work. Rebuild your focus. One battle at a time. 4. Delete what weakens you. Be ruthless. If the app is wasting you, cut it. If the site traps you, block it. If the person distracts you, distance yourself. This isn't about minimalism. It's about mental combat. If you can't focus, you can't build. If you can't build, you will never be free. This is why you're stuck. Because you keep touching your phone instead of touching your future. Every time you break focus, you break momentum. Every time you feed the noise, you starve your growth. The men who win in life, they aren't the smartest. They aren't the loudest. They're the most focused. They sit in silence longer. They do deep work. They choose one thing and hammer it until the world breaks. What happens when you kill distraction? You get clarity, you get control, you start finishing what you start, you get presence in conversations. You rebuild your mind like a weapon instead of a sponge. Discipline isn't just about doing hard things, it's about refusing soft things. The weak man entertains every ping. The strong man protects his attention like a king protects his kingdom. Noise is easy. Depth is dangerous. Be dangerous. The moment you cut the noise, you meet yourself. And for most men, that's terrifying, because in the silence, you hear everything. Your guilt, your regret, your fear, your wasted time, your hunger for more, your desire to be better. And guess what? That's good. That's where the fire starts. That's where you stop being another dopamine-drunk puppet and start becoming a man of focus. Final words. Distraction is not random. It's engineered weakness. And you've been playing along. But today, that ends. You cut the noise. You starve the chaos. You rebuild your attention span, brick by brick, moment by moment, breath by breath. Because a distracted man is broken, but a focused man is dangerous. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca, you want the wind, choose your port, silence the noise, focus, building lead, finish, and never again let the world steal your mind. Now you've seen it, all 6, the 6 silent habits that destroy weak men, not through fire, not through violence, but through erosion, comfort, emotional chaos, pleasure addiction, victimhood, isolation, distraction. They don't attack you, they seduce you, they wrap themselves around your life like vines. Soft at first, then suffocating. And most men, they never notice until it's too late, until they look in the mirror at 40 with dead eyes, soft flesh, a numb soul, and a mountain of regrets they can't bury. But you're not most men. Because you stayed, because you listened, because some part of you still refuses to die like this. Good. That part of you, that fire, that's the part we build from. You've been warned. Now you choose. You can go back now, back to scrolling, back to comfort, back to excuses and dopamine and soft silent death. Or you can start the war. You can wake up tomorrow and do what you've never done. Say no to pleasure, say yes to pain, say yes to structure, say no to chaos. Say yes to silence, say no to weakness. Say yes to the man you were always meant to become. This isn't a video. It's a line in the sand. You cross it and nothing stays the same. But only if you move, only if you burn the weakness. One habit at a time, one war at a time, one brick, one rep, one moment of silence at a time. Don't just get emotional, get ruthless. Don't just feel inspired, execute. Rebuild in silence, rise without warning. Forget applause, forget validation, forget being understood. Let them think you disappeared. Let them think you're broken. Let them laugh, let them sleep. You rise in silence, you move like a shadow, you sharpen in the dark, you reforge your mind like steel, You rebuild your identity in blood, sweat, stillness, and cold logic. And one day, when they see what you've become, it'll be too late for them, because you'll be unrecognizable. Final challenge. You want to prove you're not like the rest? Then stop watching, close this, and go do something hard. Right now. Get up. Put your phone down. Silence everything. Go train. Go write. Go fast. Go sit in silence. Go bleed for your future self. This is how you start. This is how you win. You're not soft anymore. You're not distracted. You're not waiting. You are fire. You are focus. You are discipline in human form. And from this moment on, you are no longer the man you used to be.